Hello, my name's Robert Adams and I'm from Paper Crafts Limited, and I'm here today to demonstrate to you our range of all occasion dies. Now this program is all about Christmas, and it's never too early to start. So what I'd like to do is a number of demonstrations working with the dies, give you some hints and tips as we go along. Now the star of the show today really is this pack here that we've got, and I'm going to be working from this one here that we sell that has our range of Christmas dies pre-done as a kit, if that's how you want to start. And it also comes with a CD-ROM as well, so there's some lovely Christmas images, backing papers, etc. on there. Anyway, the main die that I'd like to concentrate on is the Christmas tree here. Then we're going to look at the poinsettias, the snowflakes, in fact really look at everything that we've got on here. Okay, and as ever, if there's anything that you're interested in, you can purchase the whole kit, or you can go onto our website papercrafts.co.uk and just choose the individual ones. But this selection here is what I'm going to work with to go through our Christmas program, as it were. Okay, so let's pop those to one side, and as I said, I'd like to introduce to you our Christmas tree. Now this is a lovely little die, and what you can see here is it's a negative or reverse cut, and I hope that's picking up on the camera for you. And what I've done on this one is actually cut it out and stuck it on, but what it should look like in its native form is this, and that's what I mean by a reverse cut. So what we've got now is an image that stays within the card, and here I've cut out and embellished and put the additional snowflakes on and lettering, but you can physically cut it out. So when you look at the die, it looks like this card here, but really this is what it is, a reverse cut die. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just show you this card. I think it looks lovely. One of the things I like about this is the fact that it's nice and quick and easy to make as well. Doesn't take long, and we can build up this lovely looking card. Now I've gone all in white, but you can add different colours. So what I'd like to do, start off, do some crafting, make this card for you, and then look and show you some samples that we've prepared earlier that give you an idea of the range of this. Incidentally, I've also got a little demonstration video on the website under tutorials, and I can show you how we can make 5 different Christmas trees as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start off, again, just clear the decks and bring in my trusty machine here, because what I'm going to do is cut with this. And if I show you the die here, I'm going to use my Christmas one here. Okay, Christmas tree onto there. Now this works well on an A6 card, and that's what I've chosen. So I'm just using 250 GSM stock, fold it in half and pop my Christmas tree down. Okay, and in this instance I will again just hold it down with a little bit of tape, because on this particular machine I'm flipping it upside down, and so that's always worth remembering that it's worth holding it with a little bit of tape, again that's not too sticky. And what I'm going to do now, positioning wise, is just keep it level. I want the word Merry and Christmas here, and so I've got to leave a little bit of room for that, and I'm just visually lining it up. My bit of tape goes down there, and you could belt and braces just pop a little bit on the top here, but once that one piece is down, that usually holds it. You can see these pieces of tape look well worn. I really don't want them too sticky. In fact, that one has just come off. I'm going to go for a slightly bigger piece here. Let's pop that on there. I use them again and again because they de-tack a little bit more each time. Okay, it is important to remember to fold your card open like so. If you don't do that, you're going to cut through the whole lot. Now, if you've got a bigger machine, these big shots are great. They cut really well. And because of the shape of the tree, I'll be just coming in like so. But in an ideal world, you'd cut through like that. So anyway, that's just my handy hint. But on these machines here, it's not really that critical. Again, what I've got to do is just pop that over like so, and then pop my plate in there like so. And just run it through the machine. You'll feel it come on to the die and then roll off. go. I'll just pop the machine out the way and we can have a look at this, turn it over and carefully pull it away. Oops, to reveal our shape there. And you can see the extra bits, that one's just stayed in, so I'll just carefully pull that out. It's just caught on the star there. And of course, I've got my additional parts in here. So what I need to do at this stage, in fact, you can use these again. This is the nice thing, we can do a reverse with this. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but a good tap and they'll all come out. Okie dokie. So I've got my card here, and actually it's a TV moment because I realise I've made a mistake, but I'm just going to run with this because I can show you how the card's going to work. I'm going to put the Merry Christmas on and the snowflakes, but look, I'll share it with you. I think it's my trademark card. I've done it back to front. So remember, when you put it through, put it on, but put it on the right side. Okay, that aside, we could stop, could refilm it, but it happens. But what I need to show you isn't really affected by it. So I'm going to plough on regardless. Okay, while I've got the card here, if I can just hold it up to the camera for you, and you'll be able to see against my shirt this lovely background for it. And I think that it just looks so lovely. It's simple and elegant, and that's what we're looking for. So on this particular one, what I'm going to do now is use my additional dies. And I would like to introduce the snowflakes to you and my Christmas die, and I have my word merry in there. Now we do happy in the set, so if you prefer happy, those are an additional dies, but we're going to run, I rather like the term Merry Christmas. So I'm going to do it in the white card to match this, and this is important. Whatever stock you cut this on, make sure that you use it with your additional cutting as well. And I'm going to put all of these on and do one cut now with it all on there. Then it's a case of sticking and gluing. So back to my machine here, and I've got another part of the card that I cut. It's 250 GSM super smooth white. Now by using this again, it will match my original card and it will make it look like it's embossed. And what I need to do now really is just pop my dies down, and I'm going to just pop the Merry and the Christmas like so. And I'll put the nice thing with this is that it cuts evenly across. If you had some of the other machines where it doesn't cut in the middle, feel free to move it across, or just do it in two cuts. There's no great rush for this, but I'm just going to pop that on there like so. Pop that onto there, in with my plate, and I'm going to just cut everything at once now. That saves me running backwards and forwards. You can see through the machine and back again twice. Doesn't hurt at all. And I'm going to just again move that machine out the way, and we can see here, I'll just carefully move that. I've got my reverse here. Some of the snowflakes work quite reverse, but that's just my waste of card there, so that really goes to one side. And to release these, depending on the paper and the humidity of it, they'll usually just drop out, but if they don't, a little tap and you'll start to feel everything coming out. If it wants to stay in, just get your pokey tool and they'll just few pokes and they'll drop out. The slightly more detailed dies tend to cling a little bit. And there you go, that one's just popped out there. So I'm going to use these in a moment, so put those to one side. And again, with the Happy and the Christmas, give it a tap. Don't be afraid, they're really strong, the dies. And my Christmas has popped out. And whoops, pop for my Merry. There we go, they're well trained those. And I'll pop those back in my pot to one side. Keep everything clean, just get into the habit, brush off this tray. Then when you come to pick it up again, you're good for go and you don't have any of these little bits on there that are going to cause you problems. Right. So now, it's a case of just deciding what and where I want to go. Now I'm going to use, excuse me, coming back to the card, how it should look opening this way, the larger Merry Christmas, and I'm going to pop the snowflakes on as well. Okay, so first off, let's use the word Merry, and I'm going to just pop a little bit of glue onto this. That's not wanting to come out, so just get that on its way. It's just dried slightly. It's a fine balance between having too much coming out. Put a little dot there. Remember, we just need to dab a few dots of glue to go around the word to hold it on. Okay, so the word Merry goes there. And once you stick it down, it really does look like it's embossed. So, same again with Christmas. Oh, it's being pesky. Let's just pop that up there. And I just need to straighten it. I've squeezed that, so I just try to pick it up then. Okay, and again, a few dots of glue, just to keep it on its way. There we go. And as I've mentioned before, if you get too much glue on, don't be afraid just to do a little dab on some paper there. And Christmas can just line up underneath here. Again, I'm doing it visually. I'm just going to try and line up and just hold that down, and just got a little bit of wiggle room before it sticks. I think that looks about right there. And again, just push that down. And now with the clean side, I can just push that and take away any excess. Okay, so I've got Merry Christmas there. So the next thing, I just want to come back now with my snowflakes. Yep. And again, a few dobs of glue on there. And that will spread out as you push it down. So let's have a bigger one there, like so. And another one here. You can decorate this to your own particular taste. This is just my sort of serving suggestion to introduce to you these particular dies, and to make this style of card as well. And in a moment I'm just going to show you some other cards that we've got. So let's pop that one. What should we do? 1, 2, let's have that one here. And the final just push down, and that will all glue nicely. So this is a lovely, simple Christmas card. And as I've shown you here, it really doesn't take too long to make either. But you'll notice, if you can pick that up on the camera, that as it cuts, we get a nice little embossing line around it. And the beauty of that is that we can actually use that as a guide, if I show you here, to cut out. So although this is a negative cut die, we can actually cut out and create a shape to stick down on the card. What I'd like to do now is just show you some samples of cards that we made earlier on, and just run through them, and that will give you an idea of exactly what you can do with this particular die. Okay, so starting with this one, one of the obvious things is that you can now colour match. We can change colour and just decorate the tree like so. It's very simple again, it looks absolutely lovely. Now on this sample, what I'd like to do is show you the fact that we can cut the tree out. I've put extra elements on it, but you can see the tree itself is cut out, and you can embellish it further if you wanted to, and I'll show you that example a little bit later on. Okay, now although it's a negative cut, and the first one that I did actually was just open in effect that you could see the back of the card, there's nothing to stop you putting a piece of coloured card behind it. If I just open it up here, you'll see it's negative cut, but we've stuck it on top, so you don't see the cut through it, and we just matte and layered the card here. And again, some little embellishments just to help to sort of make it look a little bit nicer as well. And again, embellish to your own personal tastes. Okay, on this one, what I've done is a couple of techniques, and again on the website I've got everything on there for you. But I've got Christmas, Merry Christmas again. I've cut the tree out, and I've also then used what would normally be the waste to pop it back in and create a different coloured shape. So you can see now that you've got really quite a lot of range and scope with that. In fact, if I can just come back to show you this one, the purple one here, what I've done is just used the waste from the card. And the waste is really what I'm referring to as the parts that we would normally have thrown away. So instead of throwing them away, we can use the Christmas tree as a guide, the one that we've cut out, and just simply like a little puzzle pop those in. Again, all the techniques are explained on the website if you want to go and have a look there. And on this little one, all I've done is cut it out, put a nice sheet of card behind, and inside I've put another little image just to hold it so that it isn't, well, just to really tidy up the inside. You could have perhaps done another fold and covered it. It was just to cover the workings out, as it were. On this one, again, it's cut out. We've used the guideline. Incidentally, this is the bigger Christmas tree. You probably notice there's two sizes. In our starter pack, we've given you the small one. We do have a larger Christmas tree, and that works on both the A6 and also A5 cards as well. And we're using our vertical type there. And last but not least, to show you, we've got another range of techniques here, and I've put the presents on, and we're going to have a look at these a little bit later on, have a look at those as well. Okay, so those are our range of Christmas cards that you can produce with our Christmas tree die. And that again is a serving suggestion. We have a gallery on the website, and if time permits at the end of this one, we try and put a little gallery on for you on this particular video. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is talk to you about the poinsettias. We've got some lovely poinsettia die in here, and it makes up in, you can either make 3 sizes or just one poinsettia out of the 3 different leaves that cut out from the die. So let's show you some samples and do a little bit of crafting. I've got some poinsettias here, and you can see I've pre-made them up. And just to explain, as I said, we can actually make 3 different size poinsettias from this die, or one big one where they progressively get a little bit smaller. So that's just, again, just a serving suggestion. You can play around with it. The nice thing with these dies is it's open to interpretation from you, the crafter, to work with it however you want. Okay, so let's get crafting. What I'd like to do is make a card, and I'd like to show you this one of my lovely card makers did for me, and I loved it so much, the wreath. Now, she's worked in white here, but I'm going to do it in traditional red, so I'm going to just run through a version of this card working in traditional red for our poinsettias. Okay, so how do we make it? Let me start off. Well, we're going to use our die, and the die looks like this. It's our little poinsettia die, and I'm going to work with my red card here, red stock. So let me just show you what I've got. Now, to make the wreath is really simple. You can use the poinsettias however you want on your cards. I just wanted to show you how to do the wreath because I was really impressed by that card, and actually it doesn't take too long at all. So what we're going to do is actually make a little ring for them to put onto them. Now, I'm working as ever with a square card. I'm using square A5, so it's 150 by 150 approximately, and I've just used a piece of tape, a tape holder, just to draw around, and I've cut everything out here by hand. So it's only as a guide to stick them on, and you really won't see much of it underneath. So don't worry if it's a little bit tatty or your cutting isn't very good for the circles. Those are the sort of the mechanics behind it. But really, I suppose what I should do now is let's just cut one and show you how they all glue together. So I'm going to just very carefully move my little bits out the way there. And as I said, I have my card here, and I'll bring my trusty machine into shot. And I could chop this down, but I like working with the waste part, so I'll just pop it on my machine there. And if I'm clever, I could pop that there and get a little bit more out of that side as well. As ever, the nice thing with these is you can use your scraps to cut it as well. Just remembered, I actually want to do this in reverse. because I want to cut on the top of the plate. So I'll just pop that there. Again, holding it with a little bit of tape will get better use out of it, but I'm just going to push on ahead. Incidentally, I have played around with this, and if you were to reverse it, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes it's nice to see, if you want that to be your cutting plate there, it's nice to actually see where you're going. Okay, I've used a textured card here, and this again is 250 GSM, which is a nice weight to work with. We've got our poinsettias in here, and as usual, just a little tap to release them. And you can see they'll just drop out the die for you. And if I just show you here on the camera, there we go. As they cut, they emboss as well, all at the same time. Okay, so let me just gather those up, pop those down onto my desk there, and just move that out the way. Right. Okay, for this, I'm going to make up approximately 12. And what I've done is just cut a load of these up, and I've pre-made them. But if I'm doing a project like this, I find it's nice just to keep cutting, basically. Cut them all up, and then you're ready to go. Now, for this one, all I've got to do is just drop a little bit of glue into the center there. And I'm making one big one, stepping it down a few sizes. You can, if you want to, use this technique to make them of a certain size. Now I'll explain that. Let me just see. What I'm doing here is I'm just sticking that one in, and I'm just offsetting it so that it adds a little bit of variety, if you can see there. Just move it around, spin it around when I'm happy with that, and I've got a lovely little display there. I'll go on now and just pop another little bit of glue in there and do the same with this one. So I'm building up a little bit of variety on there. What I have done is just got a little bit of glue underneath it, so I'm going to just release that carefully now. And there we go. That's my poinsettia made up like that. Now I could use the same technique but use all the same petals. So effectively, if I just come back to my demonstration here, effectively I end up with them made up out of the small one, all the medium-sized one, or all the big ones. And you can use the leaves as well in green if you want to give it a little bit of greenery behind it as well. Okay, but that's my basic setup there. So what I need to do now is just come back and start building this up on my ring here. Now I've gone on ahead, just to save a little bit of time, gone on ahead and I've cut a load of them out here because it's the same technique, and it's silly me just standing there and making it all up on camera for you. And again, I've got my ring to put them on. Now I've got two sizes here. I'm going to go probably for the slightly larger one. But again, all I've done is use a piece of tape. It was I think a roller masking tape, and I just drew around the edge and then just cut my line around that. Now that's all going to stick onto something. And if I just show you what that is, we can come back and I'll just carefully move those to one side. Right, I've chosen some card. If you have embossing folders, you could emboss it. It's got little dots on it. I rather like that. I think it just gives it a kind of Christmassy look. And I'm going to pop that onto a piece of gold, and then that's going to go onto my red, which matches my poinsettias. Now, when I'm cutting all of this out, I try and keep it as accurate as I can, and I almost tailor make it for each one. By that I mean, when I put the white, sometimes my cutting isn't accurate, but I kind of cut it to make it fit. And in order to put the whole thing together, and this is just my serving suggestion for you, I put a little mark there which says that's the top. So when I come to mat and layer this, I know it's not going to go like that. Those two arrows are going to line up. And that way it looks great when I stick it down. If it wasn't truly square, it looks it when I've done it. So that's my handy hint for you. Just mark everything as you go along. Just gives you a guideline to work on. Okay, I'm going to just work here with this, and again just a little bit of glue gun there, tape pen, sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it a glue gun, and it's very, very tacky, so I'm going to line that up and stick it down like so, and there we go. That's lovely. That's done. I've got a nice edge around it. It looks square. So I need to just flip that over and do the same again here and just pop it down. So I've got my top mark there, and that's going to go to and on the top of my card. So I might as well do that now. Tape pen again. You can use whatever you like, double-sided tape, glue if you want to reposition it a little bit more. And I'll just make sure I've got this the right way. I'm going to try and get this one right. Make sure. I'm working upside down and back to front, but I just need to work facing me because I've got the overhead camera. Keep forgetting that, the luxury of that. So again, just you see what I'm doing? I'm just stopping it from absolutely touching, and that gives me a chance just to position it. And I favour having a little bit more space on the bottom than on the top. So I'll just show you there. Sorry. So a nice little edge and perhaps a wee bit more space at the bottom. Okay, so that's the basis of my card. So I can pop that to one side now. We can come back and look at our lovely poinsettias. So what I'm going to do is stick these onto the ring and work my way round. There's no special technique as such. Let me just take some of that glue away, and first one on like so, and then probably it's as well just to glue the back of that, and then I can just slightly overlap with that one and work my way along. Now what I haven't done is stick them all down to make sure, but I think even if the last one, what you can do, and I'll explain what I'm doing. You can see first of all I'm just sticking onto the gold ring there to make sure I could just visually go like this. I don't want to end up with the last one being too close, so before I get too embroiled in this, let me just go like that, like that, like that, and like that. Then I can see what I've got, and you know what, that's fine, isn't it? So I think that just carry on as I've done there, so a little bit on that, like so. And now I'll just quickly go on and just stick the rest of these on, and then we'll come back to it when it's done. Okay, I've stuck all of these on now, and you can see we've got this lovely wreath here, and I've got the word Christmas. I'm going to pop Merry Christmas in gold, and I'm just making sure that it can be seen. If the leaves cover it just slightly, then that just adds to the effects. Now to finish these off, I've got some of these little gems, and I've just gone for a goldy colour, and again I'll just pop those on into the centre there. Now while I'm doing that, if I can just say, I don't know if you can see, but really that gold ring that I started off with is pretty well covered up now, isn't it? So what I'm saying, you don't have to be wildly accurate with the cutting of that. It's just a guideline. I can see little bits of it just peeking through, but it was there to help me stick my poinsettias down and to act as a guide. So please don't panic about having to be super accurate. And oops, oh, I'm struggling with these. There we go. And again, just pop that one on there and just work my way around. Okay, and I'll just go on and stick these on. Okay, I've got my gems all stuck down now, just carried on around there. That just finishes this off nicely. Just ease it up off there. A little bit of glue is overspilt. It's still slightly wet, but that looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just going to pop that. It's going to go into my card like that, and then I'm going to put my type in there. I think the best thing to do at this stage is just pop a little bit of glue onto the back of the ring here. That will hold it on. There's no right or wrong here. I'm just going to line that up roughly evenly all the way around, and there we go. I really like this. it doesn't take that long to make. I think it looks fantastic. Now we've got the words Merry Christmas, and I'm going to use the smaller ones here. And as ever, I'm just going to pop a few little dots of glue onto there. Should really work onto a separate piece of paper, but I just want to show you here. And I'll put Merry there. Merry is my choice. You can work with whatever you like. And again, I've got the Christmas here. Now it's a little bit out of shot, but I'll just go dot, 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 like so. It's as quick as that. And pop Christmas. Well, it was made for it right there. Merry Christmas. Use my kitchen towel just to take any excess off, and there's a little bit of wiggle room if I'm not quite straight, and there we go. A beautiful card. I love this one. The wreaths don't take any time at all to make, and you can see how we can build them up. And of course we've used the 3 petals from the poinsettias here to make the larger one of them. You could even put the green leaves in if you wanted to as well. But on this instance, I've just gone and made these up, and it's a really nice size. But if I can just come back into shot here with this one and show you, we could make different size. We could use all the medium ones if you wanted to, or all the small ones. That again is just a serving suggestion for you for making it, but I think that does make a lovely card. Okay, so onwards and upwards with our theme of Christmas, and what I'd like to do now is look at the Christmas presents that come in the pack and give you an idea for working with those cards. Now with the presents, these I think make a lovely addition to your Christmas range, but equally they work well as birthday cards as well. But we're dealing with Christmas at the moment, and this is just a little idea that I came up with, sort of turning the presents into a Christmas tree. So to begin with, what I'd like to do now is just use my die, and here we have it, and create some Christmas presents. Now I've actually made some in advance just to save a little bit of time, but as ever I'll just quickly show you with the machine what we do. So as ever, try and cut everything that way rather than trying to force it all through at once. It's always happier. On this machine, it doesn't matter if I'm in the middle or the edges. Let's just pop it there. These emboss and add detail as they go through. So if you are using some of the other machines, it's useful to make sure that you've got enough pressure on it to get all those lovely little details out. Okay, capture that in there. And what I've done with this one, I've mixed the gold and silver. Again, that's just my interpretation of this card, but it really is up to you to do whatever you want. We'll just move that out of the way, and as ever, give them a tap and everything will come flying out. So I will carefully just pop those down here like so. Now one of these, and I'll show you the one, this little bit comes out, it's an optional extra, and it either makes for a lighter present like so, and I think lighter as in there's less detail in it, or that just pops back in and kind of closes it up a little bit, gives them some more detail. So that's an either or. Everything else just cuts and drops out for you, but that's quite useful. I'm going to show you why, because on my card here, if I can just bring that back into shot here, on my card I've tried to, as I said, create a Christmas tree here, but I've used that one a little bit lighter. I've taken that bit out to represent the angel on the Christmas tree. Okay, that's my interpretation of it. So let me just pop those to one side there. These are the ones I've cut out, and I've just gone ahead and pre-prepared a load of them here. And I find it's a bit like cookery. Once I'm cutting the dies, I find it quite nice just to go on and cut a batch of them and get everything ready. And if I've got too many, well, I can use them another day for another card. Okay, talking of card, I've just got again actually a 300 GSM cardstock, which I've folded to create the basis of my card. You'll see my T for top on there. That's my secret signal, because I'm popping on my other piece of card here, which I don't know if you can make it out, has a T on it as well. And now all I've got to do is stick that on. So with my trusty tape pen, I will run that through. As ever, you can use whatever glue you like. And I'm just going to align, that says T. T is just my symbol for T for the top. It's nothing too cryptic, and a little bit of space around there. And you'll notice, again, if you're using these tape pens, they're very fierce, but if you just hold it like this, you've got a little bit of wiggle room before it goes down and finally commits. And as ever, I always allow a little bit more space at the bottom. But that's, again, my sort of design way of doing things. Okay, that's all in position. Fairly happy with that. Let's just, fold it in half there. Now I've gone ahead and I've used our Merry Christmas, and just to save time, I've cut these words out. You've seen me using the cutting machine. I'm going to actually switch. I had the smaller one, so I'll just bring this one back in. I've had the smaller Merry Christmas. I'd like to go for a slightly bigger one, I think, on this one, just as a change of design. So all I need to do now is glue this up. Oh, it's quite hard to see sometimes where that is. Now it's always either too much or too little glue, isn't it? I've got a little bit too much coming out of here. So I will go back and just take some of that out. Okay, so I've got the word Merry there, just lining that up a little bit closer to the bottom, because I've got my parcels stroke presents to go on there. Stick that down, and again use this. Now I've used the same stock, it's 300 GSM card, and I've used that to cut out my Merry Christmas here. And I think it's great having two sizes because you can sort of play around with them. And in this instance, I thought it would be nice just to have a go here, and using my kitchen towel, just soak up any excess glue and just press that down. It's an acrylic glue, it dries very, very quickly. Okay, let's just get rid of some of the bits. No sticking on there. And I'm going to pop in my first present here, and I'm just going to lay this down. It's a good idea just to, before you commit to gluing, I find just sticking these roughly into position, or accurately if you want it, quite useful. And I'm just matching silver gold, or at least trying to here. I know I should have some gold ones somewhere. Ah, yes, I do, in my hand. Oh, there we go. All right, so, and then on that one, I've got the extra little bit to go in. So I'm just trying to get, as I said, the shape of a Christmas tree, nice and broad at the base. It just needs to come over a little bit. And this is why it's a good practice just to roughly lay it out before you start. Okay, that's good. And again, I'm just going to lie this down to one side here. If I just pop that up there, take my glue off there and a few dots. That will just hold it on its way. I'm altering the angle of these just slightly each time, and that just makes it look a little bit more interesting. And I'll pop that piece back in there like so. A few dots of glue on that one, and just offset the angle slightly. Oops, that one's sticking to me. And again, so all I'm going to do is just build up. And on this one, I said I've done gold and silver, breaking up the line a little bit. Just hold that for a few seconds, just let it stick. I sometimes use the kitchen towel just to soak up any excess glue, and that enables me to put some pressure onto it while it's gluing. And that one there, like so. And in this instance, a few seconds. That will now hold everything down and just push it down, soak up any excess glue. And there we go, we're racing ahead here. So for the next layer, again, it's just a case of just popping it down just to have a little look, make sure everything's where I want it to be. A little bit pesky, these. There we go. And I could do the others, but that's fine. So again, just a little bit of glue, a few dots just to hold it into position, and down we go. And all I'm doing is just altering the colour, just offsetting everything slightly so it's not too square, and trying to create a pyramid shape so it represents the Christmas tree. And that one has its little bit missing, so some glue into there, and I'll pop that bit in. And I'll work my way along here. Let's go silver on this one. Again, a few dots of glue. You'll notice the glue, I'm not being overly precious with it. Let's pop that one there like so. It runs, as you put it down, it just sort of spreads itself around. And I could really do with a gold one of these, and I should have cut an extra gold one and I haven't got one, so I'll tell you what, let's go for, we'll finish off with a cascade of silver along the top there. So if I just again put my glue there, there, in fact I quite like that, this is sort of designing on the hoof really, isn't it? And I have this one in silver, and I've kept this one open so it just sits along on the top like so. It's supposed to represent the angel of the tree, so I will again just put a little bit of glue onto there, and that fits on there like so. Just pop it down. At this point, that just soaks up the excess and gives us the opportunity of just helping those fix their way down. And there we go, a nice simple card, looks really great. I'll show you here. It's, I think, a one way, it's just my serving suggestion for working with these presents. As I said, they can work for birthdays or Christmas. You can change the colour, obviously that's the beauty of the dies. You are in control of the designing, so you can change the colour, you can work with it however you want to. I said this is just me doing it here. I must confess, I must have dropped one somewhere. I would have probably gone gold silver and then ended up with silver there. That's probably, but happy accent, I think that works fine. Do you know what, I'm happy with that. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is we've looked at most of the elements that's on the Christmas pack, and of course we've got more in the Christmas range. Again, just refer back to the website. I'd like to finish off on a nice quick card here, looking back at the snowflakes and the type as well, and just doing a really nice, simple, quick little Christmas card. Now I've got a range of the cards from the gallery here, just to show you, but what I have got is this card here, very simple one, and that's the one I want to make next. So it's a simple 3 snowflake card, Christmas card, and just again a little bit of crafting, mat and layering. So just pop that to one side there, and without further ado, I've got my elements here. You can see my T, that's my code, and all I'm going to do is just simply mat and layer this card up. So there we go. I know that's going to fit because I've marked it. And again, now I've got some nice shiny metallic in here, so I'm going metallic, matte, metallic. It just gives you a little bit of variety in your making there. So again, T for the top, that's my signal that it's going in there. And pop that. And last but not least, this one here, and come down a little bit on there, and I have a little bit more space at the bottom. Press it all into position, try and keep nice and clean, and there we go. That's my base layer done. Nothing too mysterious on that at all, just some good old-fashioned matten layering. And I've pre-cut, just to save some time, my words. And on this one, I think because of the size, we're going to go for a smaller, whoops, oh, catch up there, a smaller Merry Christmas. And now I could, if I wanted to, play around with this. I could go at the top like that, have Merry at the top. This is the thing, there's nothing to stop you with the design, just generally having a little bit of fun with it. So I just want to pause for a second to show you here different ways of working. Now I've cut all the snowflakes out. We get 3 different ones, but what I've decided is to go 1, 2, 3, but just don't work with 2 of them, so I have a mirror image like that rather than the different ones. That's again just something I'm playing around with, and I can go Merry Christmas like that. I could move them at the top. Sorry, these are quite pesky to pick up. This is going to look quite cruel. I'm going to stab it with my craft knife. It won't show up, but it will just give me a chance to work with it. Or I can have it down here like that. Do you know, I rather like that. So without further ado, all I need to do is just pop some glue onto that. Now, my glue was coming out at various speeds. What I've done is just leave the top on to let it dry slightly, so not so much is coming out. As ever, just line that up. I've got a little bit of leeway on that. And just pull that down into shape there. Oops. You really don't want to move it around too much if you can, because it will leave some glue underneath. If not, but you can see with my kitchen towel here, I've soaked up any excess. And while I'm gluing, I will just pop some on this one here as well. And again, leave a little bit more space at the bottom, room to breathe as it were, and just pop that into position. Okay, so I've got my snowflakes, and I always suggest, as I've done with the poinsettias, just have a little play. I'm going to offset these like that. So before I commit to gluing, I'm just spacing them out, and that acts as a guideline for me. I think that's quite important sometimes, just to breathe and let things have a little look and before you commit to them. So I will just pop some glue onto there and pop this first one up like so. I'm just visually looking where everything goes. As ever, you can measure if you want to, but I think just trusting your sort of visual senses is fine. Incidentally, I've used a more pearlescent card to make these snowflakes out of. This is 300 GSM, and that gives a nice little bit of sparkle to it as well. Don't forget, these dies will quite happily go up to 300, 350 GSM card. Okay, a few dots of glue onto there. You can see as well, you don't have to be really precious and coat every surface with the glue. I must emphasize that. And I'm just going to match that up, and again, I can use my craft knife just to position it like so. There we go. And I've left a little bit more space from there. Again, this is just my design tip. I got that from the Greeks and the Romans. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And there we go. I think that's a lovely card. Very quick, very simple. It shows you that my favourite saying is less is more. And here, the classic example and the point that I want to make is that you don't have to fill every surface. You don't need a huge die to make an impressive card. You can make a small die big, but not a big die small. So although those small, they are what in our range called the small snowflakes, you can fill up an area and make a really lovely card. So I'm pleased with this one. I think that's a nice little scheme. And again, this is just, you can tell I've got a purple theme going on here. It's Christmas. You could use your blues, your reds, your greens, your silver or golds. It's up to you to design however you want it. But I don't think it does any harm to play around with colour and have a bit of fun with it. Okay, well, this has been a sort of a lightning tour, as it were, through our Christmas selection. We've got lots more dies, but I wanted to introduce our starter pack to you and show you what we can do with it. And if time permits, we have a little gallery on the back here, but remember, we've got one on the website as well. Anyway, I hope that's inspired you to get cracking with your Christmas cards and enjoy your crafting. See you soon. Bye-bye. Now, this card is a variation on a theme, and we're using the poinsettias, but this time in white, and onto a brown, a neutral colour background. And we've got the words Merry Christmas nicely placed within the middle of this lovely frame, and the button and bow die has been used just to embellish it. And here's a great example of just using a few elements to create a really vibrant card. And we've got the snowflake placed onto a white circle and then onto a silver shape. And then we have the ribbon running through the card, and then just the word Christmas in white. So there's a great white theme here running through, representing snow, the freshness of snow. But it's a great way of showing how one element, like the snowflake, can be used to really dominate a card. It doesn't have to be big to have a presence. And as I said, that's now just set off with just one little diamond in the middle, a little blue diamond that gives that tiny hint of colour. The rest of it just plain white. This is a great favourite of mine. We've got the white poinsettias here, looking lovely. We've got the leaf flourish in white, again just going through this Christmas theme. Silver gems just used to highlight the middle of the poinsettias, and our trellis corner die just in the corner there. A very simple little card that I think looks absolutely stunning. This is again matte and layered. We've got a single sheet of silver in which we can see through the trellis corner, and then again a white background echoing that feeling of snow which we've used with all the white elements in the poinsettia and the leaf flourish. This card again shows great use of matte and layering. We have our white stock for the card, a purple paper, and then a nice textured one on top of that. And this shows beautifully how you can use the reverse of the Christmas tree, i.e. what would normally be the waste, templated through the original to create this lovely shape, and a little bit of embellishment for the Christmas decorations. And then our lovely Happy Christmas using our die at the bottom there to sing out really what this card is all about. Different use of colours. It's quite nice to play around a little bit with them. Though we traditionally think of our whites, blues, greens and reds for Christmas, there's no harm in just, having a little bit of fun with colour along the way as well. A case in point here that presents aren't just for Christmas. We can use them for birthdays as well. Now, I know this was a Christmas show per se, but I did say, and it's a great opportunity to show you here how we can use the presents beyond our festive season, and they work beautifully as presents. And this instance is a technique which we didn't have a chance to explore, but we're using paper behind it, a mirror board behind the die, to accent the cutouts as well. And I think that's a lovely little technique to use. And of course, you could use that for your Christmas cards as well. Here, again, you can see the poinsettia is used as the focal point to the card. And just using your inks, you can feather out colour and introduce it to it. And the word Happy Birthday coming in, again, playing an important part. The type here is as important as the image. It does become, it's a very beautiful typeface, and it does become part of the image as well. And we've got the leaf flourish just offsetting it, and parts from our Christmas bauble as well there to emphasise the leaf flourish. A very simple little card, very elegant, and I think this looks really, really lovely. Now here I've used the stretch card as the basis in which to make the Christmas card. We've got our Merry Christmas, we've got our snowflakes all in gold mirror board, other elements, our Santa and our angels there. And we just use that to create this lovely stretch card. I'll show you here. But the Christmas trees, really add to it. In fact, all the elements come together to create a really lovely, unusual Christmas card for you. This one will fold flat and go as ordinary letterpost. Doesn't get much better than that. Okay, another Christmas tree, again reverse cut, The words Merrying Christmas used in silver mirror board, and a few gems used to decorate the tree. Nice and simple. I'll just open that, pop it down. You can see now obviously the colour behind it. A simple card to make, simple and elegant. Again, this card really focuses on our Christmas tree and our presents. I spoke about using the holographic papers, and you can see this has been used to good effect with the presents. And by the virtue of the fact that they cut out and create an outline, so they don't become overpowered by the paper, but you can see probably with the lights glittering away there that it makes for a very interesting sort of texture on the paper. And then the Christmas tree is cut out, and using the waste in the colour green is then emphasised and matched on the typeface. Here we've got the vertical Happy Christmas, and we'll be exploring those typefaces in another show. But the green is used here effectively behind the presents just to throw them out and colour coordinate the whole card.